You're at 2 minutes and 2 seconds. Mr. Barrett, go ahead.
I can only explain it to you. I can't understand it for you, Ms. Khalid. Ma'am.
Mr. Chair.
The question to you, Mr. Attorney General, is why is justice being denied for people in my home province of British Columbia?
Well, thank you, Mr. Van Popta, for the question. I'd say to you that I'm acutely aware of the need to complete and fulfill judicial vacancies. I would note for the record that in 7 months in office, I've appointed 74 judges thus far, and there are more to come in the immediate days that follow. I would say to you that I think it's important for comparison purposes to reflect on the record of the previous government that we replaced in 2015. The average number of appointments annually by that government was 65. So by that metric, I'm working twice as fast as the previous government. I believe. Secondly, what I would say to you is that it's important to understand how delays occur in the criminal justice system and the civil justice system, but also who's responsible for the delays. The administration of justice in this country is, in the main, the purview of the provinces, and delays are also caused by lack of courts and lack of court staffing across provinces in this country. You mentioned confidence in the administration of justice. I share your concern. It's entrenched in our charter. It's a fundamental part of what I do. What I've seen fit to do is ensure that our JACs have quorum. Those are judicial appointments committees. They have quorum and that they are able to do the work that they are required to do in terms of nominating judges such that they present recommendations to me. What I've seen alternatively in other provincial levels of government in terms of their own judicial appointments processes is stacking judicial appointments committees with staffers of the governing party. That relates to my province, not yours, but I think that actually undermines confidence in the administration of justice. It injects partisanship in the appointments process. That's not what we need, and we have ensured a nonpartisan process that is robust, that helps us establish judges of the highest quality to represent the diversity of the country. I'll continue to appoint people of that nature.
Well, thank you for that answer. Now, you've said that you're appointing a record number of judges, which is fair enough. I don't argue with that. But the Chief Justice of Canada talked about, this is Richard Wagner, talked about the government's inertia regarding vacancies and the lack of satisfactory explanations for these delays. And this is what he says: the slowness of appointments is all the more difficult to understand since most judicial vacancies are predictable. Now, you said that you're appointing more judges than the Conservatives ever did. Of course, sir, your circumstances are quite different than they were a decade ago when Conservatives were the governing party. You have the reality of demographic of large number of aging baby boomers, but so it is your job to fill those vacancies. It is your job to stand up to the challenges of the day. So my question is whether your government is up to those challenges.
And I would say to you, Mr. Van Popta, that in terms of the number of judges we've appointed since 2015, it's over 700. Last year, the combination of David Lametti and myself, we appointed 100 judges in total. That's never been done in Canadian history. As I said to you, I've appointed 74 in 7 months. That is a faster pace than has ever been seen and twice as fast as the previous government. Is there an issue with respect to appointing judges and the speed with which they are taking place? This is a top priority for me and has been since I took over in this job. What I can say to you in terms of structural changes that I've done is that I have convened all of the heads of the judicial appointment committees. I've written to them about the need for urgency in terms of making suggestions. I have worked with my deputy and other officials in government to facilitate the speed with which security clearances are obtained. I've made structural changes such that the JACs now sit for 3 years and their assessments are valid for 3 years. Every time I tour anywhere in this country, I talk about the need for people to apply, people of the highest quality that represent the diversity of this country. Other aspects that relate to the need for judges are informed by the courts themselves. The courts tell me we need a specific expertise, a family law lawyer, a person who's got expertise in insolvency matters. Sometimes from provinces that don't have significant francophone populations, they still require bilingual jurists because of the needs to address francophone litigants. We are always attentive to the needs of the court and will remain so, and are working very closely with those chief judges to meet the needs of their courts quickly. Thank you.
Wow, 1 second left. Thank you very much. Mr. Mendicino.
Thanks very much, Madam Chair. Good morning, Minister. Thank you and your officials for
making your introductory remarks with respect to this important piece of legislation, which I think we're all united in wanting to see a thorough debate about, just given the social harms that are at play, in particular with regards to vulnerable Canadians, young Canadians, women, and others. I really want to zero in on the part of the bill that deals with the Digital Safety Commission, because on my first reading of this proposed legislation, the powers that would be imbued within this new commission are extensive. And so, again, on my first review of this legislation, it would make certain content inaccessible, would create new investigative powers, it would create a forum in which there could be hearings that could be closed to the public, given certain sensitivities that may be in play, as well as privacy considerations. The Commission would have the power to create regulations and codes of conduct and also levy quite significant penalties. So given that, would you agree, Minister, that the chair of this commission will have quite significant authority in those areas?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mendicino, for the question. What I'd say to you that this is a big step forward for Canada. We thought really long and hard about how to structure it. We looked at sort of different examples around the world, including the e-safety commissioner in Australia. But we also thought very hard about the confidence that I think Canadians need to have in this new officer, given the powers that they will wield. And that's why you'll find in the bill itself what is a very pronounced declaration that we will say that the confidence of Canadians will be ensured by having a vote cast in the House of Commons and the Senate of Canada to actually support the implementation and the appointment of that new Digital Safety Commissioner. That gives Canadians, through their elected representatives and through their parliamentarians, a direct line of accountability. And I think the measures that we're taking are significant, but I would also point to the fact that most people are aware of Frances Hogan's, the Facebook famous whistleblower who testified at Congress. She's described this as best-in-class, world-leading legislation for ensuring the accountability we need to see from social media companies, including the significant penalties of up to 6%, or in the case of a contravention of an offense, 8% of global revenue.
On the vote, are you worried that...
Well, I mean, there seems to be a confusion between...
I'm certain that you're aware of the issue of companies that are skimming 25 and 30% off multi-million-dollar government contracts